We could see that Bitcoin did find resistance exactly at this level where it did in the past, and it found support down here in this area where it did in the past. And what would it be if it took us all the way up here? Repeating this fractal gets us right up in there, right up into that kind of $90,000, $95,000 range. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And today we're going to take a look at what the Bitcoin price would be if there was a really big fall in the Bitcoin dominance, which of course would mean a monstrous altcoin rally for all the altcoins like XRP, Ethereum, Cardano, whatever. What would happen to the Bitcoin price if the Bitcoin dominance, say, fell to like 15%? Well, I've done a lot of mathematics, and we're going to figure that out and see what could it potentially be. When we look at the last bull markets for cryptocurrency, you can see that the Bitcoin dominance does actually fall during a bull run, and it actually rises during bear markets. So, for those who are saying, well, no, the Bitcoin dominance could never fall, well, historically, during bull markets, the Bitcoin dominance does fall. So, we're going to take a look at that and see what kind of mathematics can we use to calculate what would happen to Bitcoin during a dominance fall, and what price do we think it could reach out to. Before I do that, here is my Twitter page. You can follow me on Twitter at BCBacker. I do post on here every time that I've uploaded a new video or when I'm going to go live. Of course, you can subscribe to me here on YouTube and you will get notifications as long as you hit that bell of when I go live and when I post new videos. So let's jump in. Yesterday, in my live stream, somebody asked me, what do I think the Bitcoin price would be if the Bitcoin dominance did fall to what I'm forecasting? Is where if the Bitcoin dominance falls down to 15%, what would that actually mean for the Bitcoin price? If you watched my live stream yesterday, if you've watched any of the videos where I talk about the Bitcoin dominance, let me show you really fast. I've talked about how I forecast that the Bitcoin dominance is actually going to fall down to near 15%, which would lead to the biggest altcoin bull rally that we've ever seen before. So the question comes down to, if Bitcoin is going to fall down to a 15% dominance and the altcoins are going to take up 85% of the market, what would the Bitcoin price be in that situation? Well, it's really impossible to actually figure that out, but we can take a guess on it and see if we can find something that would make any sense at all. So really what we have to do is we have to look at the altcoin market cap. And what we've done is we've forecasted that the market cap for the altcoins would rise by about 11,000%. So we set up what another major cycle would look like, and that would take us up here to about, $9.3 trillion market cap for the altcoins during the next cycle. That would be a rise of nearly 11,000%. But for the most part, we can see that it would be right here at about 9.2, $9.3 trillion. So let's pretend that the market cap or then the Bitcoin dominance fall all occurs at the same time, and Bitcoin bottoms out in dominance at 15% right at the very top of the market, which is what we saw last time. If we go back and we look at that Bitcoin dominance again, Bitcoin's dominance bottomed right here in January of 2018. So as the market rose and reached the very top of the cycle for the altcoins and for Bitcoin and all of it together, Bitcoin's dominance had reached its absolute lowest. So we can assume that, okay, at the next peak of the next market cycle, that's when the Bitcoin dominance would be at its lowest. And when we calculate the Bitcoin dominance, we're calculating it based off the market cap. So what is the market cap of Bitcoin compared to the market cap of the rest of the market? So in this circumstance, we would have to assume that the top of this market comes in at $9.3 trillion, and that would represent 85% of the market. And if $9.3 trillion represents 85% of the market, that would mean that Bitcoin's market cap at 15% would be $1.64 trillion. So what would the price of Bitcoin be if the market cap was $1.64 trillion? Well, it's going to depend on what the circulating supply is at that exact time, but we can assume it will be relatively close to what it is right now. So we are going to use the same figure that we see right now, but it could be, 18.3, 18.4. million Bitcoins. But for the most part, we would running this calculation, we would get within, within a percent or 2 or 3%. And that's close enough for this big of a kind of a forecast. But we can see that with Bitcoin having a $169 billion market cap, the price is 9,321. So if we divide, $1.64 trillion by $169 billion, that means that the price would be 9.71 times higher than what it is currently. So currently the price is $9,321. That would put the price at about a $90,000 Bitcoin. So can we forecast that Bitcoin can get to $90,000 on the next cycle? Well, we can take a look at the Fibonacci's and see if the Fibonacci's point us to $90,000. And the Fibonacci's would point us to 75,000, so that's pretty close. Here's the Brave New Coin Liquid Index, which is BLX over on TradingView. If we copy the last fractal and paste it over here, we can see that Bitcoin did find resistance exactly at this level where it did in the past, and it found support down here in this area where it did in the past. And what would it be if it took us all the way up here? Repeating this fractal gets us right up in there, right up into that kind of $90,000, $95,000 range. So does it seem realistic that Bitcoin could go to $90,000 in the next cycle or in the next final push up? Seems like it. So I don't know. I think we just found another confirmation for potential that the Bitcoin dominance could fall to 15% in the next market cycle, and that the altcoins would have a very big run. And it builds another case for, hey, there's the $90,000 Bitcoin scenario, and then there's the scenario for another 11,000, 12,000% rise in the altcoins. So once again, mathematics come and save the day and create an interesting scenario for us. Now, I can already hear a bunch of people screaming on the other side of their computer monitors or their phones or their tablets right now saying there's absolutely no way that the Bitcoin dominance would go down to 15%. I've covered this a few times, so I've kind of saved it here for near the second half of the video. So anybody who is stuck around this long and just wants to listen to me ramble can hear me say it again on why the Bitcoin dominance looks like it wants to fall down to 15%. It all comes back to that 0.702 Fibonacci retrace level that I put into my own Fibonacci retracements. It's not built into the charts. I do add it. It's the halfway point between 0.618 and 0.786. And we can see that when this market has retraced, it came right back up to this zone. Anybody who has watched my content knows that I talk about that a million times all the time, nonstop. And they're just like, stop talking about it. But it's really important, so I keep reiterating it. But we come back up and touch that. So if we did a repeat of this cycle and we did the exact same kind of fall that we did last time, it would take us all the way back down to about 15%. Would that make any sense for it falling all the way down to 15%? Well, we can see a couple of different things. One, that we do have a reaction here, and also that we do get stopped out up here. And also primarily we see this right here. We can see that when the initial fall occurred, it found a base on this 0.702. It held this base for a while and became the main breakdown point. Also, if we do break down from right here, if it actually starts crumbling from this exact spot, we have our new retrace spot for the next time that the Bitcoin dominance comes back. And it would also happen to be the 0.702 on the entire fall. So we would fall all the way down here. And then when we do our retrace for our next retrace after the next cycle, it would take us all the way back to there. And it would just be too perfect. So I do believe that the Bitcoin dominance will fall down to 15%. It makes the most sense to me. And we can see that in past market cycles, when the markets do go rampaging, Bitcoin's dominance falls. Bitcoin's dominance does not rise during huge bull runs, it falls. So I would expect that too. So in the end, I'm really excited about the altcoins, and of course, in particular, XRP. But really, the whole altcoin market seems to be the big show for the next cycle. And I'm really excited that, I own way more in there than I do in Bitcoin. And I've always looked at this, and this has been the thing that's really drawn me is the fact that these altcoins look like they're going to be the big, big showstopper for the next cycle. So I hope you guys enjoyed this content. Again, if you want to, you can go ahead and follow me over here on Twitter at BCBacker. And thank you so much for watching this. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. You can get notified of when I go live and when I post new videos. And as always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.